Hey friends, welcome to the Concierge Doc Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Jason Littleton, CEO and founder of Littleton Concierge Medicine. Welcome to the podcast. Today we got a great show. Today I'm talking about my health, and I'm putting a lot of the components that I have shared on social media together and just talking about how I put that together with my health. I think that's important, and I think people can learn from that. Before I go forward, let me read a statement from my compliance team. Access to the information and materials contained in this podcast is at your own risk. The information contained is presented for the purpose of educating the consumer on a variety of wellness and healthcare topics. Nothing contained is intended to be instructional for medical diagnosis or treatment. The information contained is compiled from a variety of sources. The information should not be considered complete and exhaustive and should not be in place of a visit or consultation with your own primary care doctor. Like I say every time, it's so important that you get in front of your own primary care doctor or you come and see me personally so that myself or your primary care doctor can make accurate diagnosis and treatment. It's so important, friends. Let's just be instinctive about that. It's so important. We all know that you need to get in front of your own doctor or myself so that you can actively be diagnosed and treated. So important. So today, as we get started, I am really excited because I feel like sharing my health and how I look at prevention, because my practice, Littleton Concierge Medicine, is huge on prevention. I think giving you a glimpse about my health can really be something that can be very memorable and people can learn from that. So let's get into it. So when I talk about my health, I think about the 5 big themes that motivate me. And you always hear me talk about that on social media. I have 5 major things that I must do in my lifetime, and it gets me out of bed. It motivates me. In fact, I want to live to be beyond 100, and that's not a fairy tale. That's something that I am pursuing because I have a lot of things that I want to do. And I'll do another podcast at a different time where I actually talk about the 5 things that motivate me. But what I'm getting to is that when you have an outlook on things that you need to do, now you think to yourself, I have to buy time. And that's how I look at it. I'm like, I have to buy time. And buying time is living a long time and feeling energized. You can live a long time and be sick. You can live a long time and not be able to be functional. And I'm not talking about that. No one wants that. You want to live a long time and you want to feel strong and you want to be functional and you want to be productive. And that's why when I wrote my first book, Wellspring, The Energy Secrets to Do the Good Life, it's all about doing the good life, your life, having energy to do that. And having energy means that you're actually healthy. When you're healthy, when you're feeling good, when you're eating right, when you're exercising, you will have energy. Okay. And now what you do with that energy, you want to be productive in doing your purpose. And that's why I always start out consultations with identifying what are the 5 things you feel like you must do. Because when you know that, now you're motivated to be productive, not lazy, but productive, and to go out there and go get things done, be driven. And you're going to want to live longer because you know that what you're doing is helping others, right? So when I look at my health, there are certain tests that I do so that I can stay ahead of the curve. Like, for example, I get a CCTA of the coronary arteries every 5 years because I want to know if there's any coronary artery disease risk in my history, in my personal history. I get prostate MRIs every 2 years because that's a good way to look at the prostate. Now, again, these are costly exams. I'm paying somewhere between $400 to $500 to get this done. My insurance is not picking this up because I don't have a diagnostic code for these tests. I'm not having a prostate problem. I'm not having chest pain. So I'm paying out of pocket to get this information so I can make decisions. I'm all for getting body scans, like a head to toe imaging scan to find out if there's anything going on in your body. And I've done that. I'm all for that. And I'm all for getting colonoscopies every 5 years. And I get colonoscopies every 5 years. I get a CCT of the coronary arteries every 5 years. I get the prostate MRI every 2 years. I get my labs done and have a physical check every year. I'm taking supplements based on what my lab numbers show. And then I look into how can I optimize my health? How can I optimize how I feel? How can I optimize, my energy so I can be more productive? And then I think about when I think about my week and my flow, I think about how can I feel good from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed and be highly productive. And so I think about my schedule. I think about my high tide periods, like I like to call them, and my low tide periods, like I like to call them. In my high tide periods, I'm very busy. I'm on the phone. I'm seeing patients. And the low time periods, I'm not getting a lot of phone calls. And that's where I'm capitalizing on getting rest. I'm capitalizing on rejuvenation so I can get ready for the high tide periods. And that's a whole nother podcast in itself. But I'm talking about that from the perspective of always being ready. I have a confession about myself that I'm ever ready, meaning that as I'm on call for people in my practice, I'm ready to go. I'm alert. I'm focused. I'm ready to be present for you. And so in order to be present for you, I have to be healthy myself. I have to make sure that I am staying mentally focused. I'm feeling good in my body. I'm ready to go. And that takes work. It takes an investment. It takes being confident in my health, doing those tests that I talked about, doing the regular checkups. But it also takes eating right. It takes, making sure that I exercise, making sure that there's a whole routine, and consistency is the key. I always tell people little changes make a ton of difference, which is a play off my name, Littleton. And it's so true. I make little changes daily, which make a ton of difference in my life. And when you do little changes, that helps you to be consistent. When you are focused on making big swinging changes, and you dismiss the small, it's hard to be consistent. Consistency is the vehicle that moves you forward and that makes you strong in whatever you're doing. So it's so important. Little changes make a ton of difference. And you can take that, and you might be dealing with a weight problem or a really big problem, whether it is physical or it's business, whatever it is. You gotta deal with that in small chunks, and you have to deal with it consistently to break that down or to build that up or whatever you're trying to do so you can get to your goal. All right. And I look at that in the same way when it comes to health. I feel excellent. I have excellent health. I mean, I'm going to say, I like to just go ahead and say I have perfect health. That doesn't mean I'm perfect, but what it means is that, man, I'm optimized. I'm feeling my best. I'm feeling good. I'm being productive. I'm at peace. Look, I'm ready to go. And I want my patients to feel that way too. And that's why I think my practice is so special, Littleton Concierge Medicine, because you can come and meet with me and talk with me, and I can get you on that preventative plan. And even if you're dealing with something serious, we can make things small and deal with it and go forward. That's so important. And that's why, like I said in the beginning of this podcast, it's so important to meet with your doctor. In this case, it's so important to meet with me so that we can properly diagnose you and treat you, and we can move forward together. It's a teamwork. We're a team. All right. And it's so important that we work together and we don't stop until we find the answers. Okay. So I wanted to share a little bit I wanted to give you guys an insider look in terms of the tests that I do, because these same tests I actually recommend for people in my practice. And one of the things I want to put word out there is that, for the women, I talk about making sure that they get mammograms, breast ultrasounds, DEXA scans, colonoscopies, of course, right? And when I talk about like some of the concerns that are out there in the health field, top 3 cancers, you think about lung cancer, breast, prostate cancer, colon cancer. I go right down the list when I'm working with someone so that we do We do all the proper screenings and tests. If you're a smoker, I'm going to do like a low dose CT scan because I want to see if you have any lung nodules, if there's any type of lung concern. I want to look at that second tier risk in terms of when we talk about the top cancers, breast cancer, prostate cancer, for women and men respectively. I want to make sure that the women in my practice, like I said, are getting the mammograms, getting the breast ultrasounds. The men are getting the prostate MRIs. And again, these are tests that, for some tests without a diagnostic code, you are making an investment and you're paying for. But I want to help identify what's needed so that we can go about there and cross off the appropriate boxes for your health. And then I'm talking about doing the colonoscopies. And I'm just reviewing that again because I want to be preventative for you. And I want to meet with you and I want to help you to check off the boxes so that you can feel confident, free, strong. That's what we want. That's what we want. So I'm always going to deal with you from the platform, or what are your top 5 things? How long do you want to live? Where are you at in your history? What are the preventive tests that we need to do? What are the tests that are routine that you need to do and labs? And let's do this journey together. I hope that you look me up and you come see me because I want to work with you and get things done. So I hope this helps and provides a little bit of insight into my own health, but I hope it also gives you something to chew on when you think about the things that you might need to do for your own health. And I want you to consider joining my practice as well. Come and see me. As always, follow me on all my social media handles. Follow me on my podcast, this podcast. I can't wait to talk to you again. Let's go.